So we're going to say one more word, B'ezras Hashem, about the idea of Yosef and lack of bitachon. Obviously, on his level, we're not anybody to judge Yosef at Tzaddik. But there's a very nice idea I saw from the Sefer Dalchin Musar, classic Sefer, from Rabbi Yaakov Naiman, Rosh Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael and O Yisrael. And he says the following interesting idea. So he, like everybody else, brings the medrash that Yosef at Tzaddik was punished. He was in jail for 2 more years because of the 2 expressions that he asked the bartender, the chief bartender, to get him out of jail. So they all ask, what was the sin? You have to do Hishtadlus, as we'll see later on. It's a gezerah. It's a decree from Shemayim. That's why Hashem made the system, that we do Hishtadlus. What was wrong? Yaakov Avinu, his father, also did Hishtadlus. We all know, you ask any kid in school, they teach you, your mother tells you in school, that Yaakov Avinu prepared for 3 things. I'm not going to ask the Talmidim over here to name them. I don't know if they could.
Wow.
Okay. What were the 3 things that, right, that Yaakov prepared for Esav? Everybody knows. I mean, the kids know. Tefillah, he davened. L'Doron, he gave presents to Esav. And the war, prepared for war. But the point is that Yaakov Avinu also did Hishtadlus. So Yosef has to be better than his father. We know, L'mayit b'nisa adif. It's better to try to minimize coming on to miracles. So what was the problem? So, for another time, maybe next year, we'll learn the shmuz from the Dubno Maggid, Rabbi Yaakov Dubno. He has a very nice mahalach on this. Okay, so we'll do this another time. Says the Daki Musa as follows. Very interesting idea. There are 2 ways of avodas Hashem. There are 2 ways of serving God. Each person picks a way that's more for their tchuna, for the way they live their life, something which is mat'im for them, something which suits them better. So Bitachon is also like that. There are different ways of having Bitachon in Hashem. They're both bona fide ways. Some have Bitachon that they don't do any Hishtadlus. I think we looked last week from the Beis HaLevi that was a mahalach of Yosef at Tzaddik. That on his level, any Hishtadlus would be considered a sin, because for him, he was an exception. Tzaddikim are on a different level and for an exception. So we'll call this mahalach now the Beis HaLevi's mahalach, okay? That some say that the way to do bitachon is not to have any Hishtadlus and to totally rely on God, and God will provide him with what he needs. There's another way, just as bona fide as that way, and that is based on the pasuk of that Hashem will bless you with whatever you do. But you see, you're doing something. It doesn't say with all you don't do, you're doing something. Obviously, you're doing something. That a person does what he's able to do, but he has to believe that it's not his strength and his actions that bring the salvation. It all comes from God. And he just does his hishtadlus, his actions. Now, so why do you have to do hishtadlus at all? That's the gezerah. That is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the rule. That was his decree that he made. But we believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can bring you the salvation without your activity, your actions. You're not doing God a favor. You're not making it easier for him to do what he wants to give you. You have to believe that God will provide for you no matter what you do or don't do. It's not your actions that are producing the results. So those are the two ways of having bitachon. Says the Darkei Musa, an interesting idea. Nobody's telling you which way to pick. No way is better than the other way. They're both bona fide ways of serving Hashem. Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim. Both of these ways are the words of the living God. Each person can pick a way that he chooses. Says the Darkei Musa, but there's one caveat. There's one, let me think of another good word there, Max, for caveat. There's one ma'akev.
Exception?
No, there's one tanai. There's one condition. Okay, and that's as follows. Once you pick your way, then that's the way that you live your life. You can't pick a way and then, once it gets hard and you don't think you're going to be able to withhold the test, it gets too hard, then you just forsake it? No. If you try one way and you realize that that's not going to work for you, to be like the Beis HaLevi's Mahalach, and to do nothing, and to totally rely on God, and you realize that that's not the proper way for you, that's okay. But if it was working for you, that was your proper way, everything was fine, but then all of a sudden it got hard, and you don't think that you're going to be able to withhold the test, and then you leave it, that's a sin. To be what's the expression, Max? A big sports fan? A fair weather fan, right?
Right.
That's not a real fan, right? I don't know when the last time the Dolphins won the Super Bowl. When was that, Max? A long time, okay?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they won the Super Bowl. All of a sudden they go to every game. All of a sudden they're fans. That's not a real fan. A fan is there through thick and thin, till death do us part, right? The whole way. If you're only there, that's a selective fan. That's not a real fan. Okay, enough about sports. But getting back to the learning part over here, sometimes I get sidetracked and I forget about what we're doing here. We're learning Torah. We're getting back to this over here. So it says the Dakim Musa, interesting idea. Again, just I'll repeat it again for those who want to make sure they get it clear. If you pick a mahalach, you pick a derech, and you realize it's not for you. It's not for me. Not because it's too hard. It's just it's not the way I live my life. It's not the proper way for me. That's fine. You try one way, it's not for you. You try something else, and then that's the proper way for you. That's okay. Says the Dakim Musa. But to have a way, it was going good, everything was fine, and all of a sudden it gets hard, and you realize, it's too hard for me. I'm not gonna be able to pass the test, even though you passed everything else until now, and you just leave, and you just hang out and go to Miami and hang out. That's a sin. Each way of Avodas Hashem that person picks, there's always going to be hard ways. A person has to overcome them. Now, getting back to the idea. So let's finish up over here. So the question was, Yaakov Avinu, he did Hishtadlus. Like I said, every kid knows in school that he prepared for the three things with Esau. He did Hishtadlus. Says the Dakim Musa, it's not a kasha. Because Yaakov Avinu was with the second Mahalach. That he felt, for him, okay, Hishtadlus. You have to do Hishtadlus. If it's good enough for Yaakov Avinu, there's nothing wrong with us, okay? You do all the Hishtadlus that you need to do. Realize that's not your Hishtadlus that brings the salvation. Again, it's Hashem that does it. There happens to be that there's a chiyuv Hishtadlus, but don't think that your actions produce the results. It's really only because of a God, whether or not you do this Hishtadlus or not. So Yaakov Avinu felt, for him, Hishtadlus was what he's going to focus on. Again, not to the exclusion of realizing that it's Hashem who brings it, but he needs to do Hishtadlus. Yosef was not like that. For the first 10 years that he was in jail, he did nothing. He was totally Botech B'Hashem. He was like the Beis HaLevi's idea. Totally. Tzaddik. Yosef and Tzaddik. No Hishtadlus. But then what happened? Then he sat and he realized, enough. I can't be arguing on the Zion anymore. That's it. I'm leaving this derech. I'm leaving this Bitachon the way I did live my life without any Hishtadlus. I'm done. Ad Khan. No more. That was the sin of Yosef Tzaddik. Once he made a decision that he's Yosef Tzaddik, mi baladai, it's only Hashem. He's nothing. And then for him to just leave that was considered a sin. Once you pick this derech, you should be oimed with it until the end. Interesting idea. Just to summarize, that's the Dakim Musa's teretz. For him, because he picked that way of Bitachon without Hishtadlus, and to just leave it because it's getting too hard, it's getting too tough, for him that was considered a sin. Like obviously on his level. But just the Derech Limud, another Mahalach. That again, nobody told you have to pick the way of doing Bitachon without Hishtadlus. But if you pick that way, and that's the way you're doing, then you stick with it till the end. And that's a great lesson for us too, in our avodas Hashem, that we have to be oimid b'nisali, and we have to stand up and try to withhold the tests until the end, and we don't just leave things because they're hard. Let's be zeicha to be oimid b'nisali and to withhold all the tests and stick with it till the end.